If I go, well, I'm not going to say that because I'm broadcasting already. All right, well, I guess I'm live. A little frustrated because of, well, not your problem. Alrighty, so here we are in Moho, and I just wanted to make some really simple animals that hopefully I can make a bunch of and put into a simple animals pack for people to animate, just kind of some very kid-like animals. Maybe some anthropomorphic, some not. I guess I'll find out. Okay, here I am on layer 1. I'm going to make, well, heck, let's make an elephant. That is going to be a body. This is going to be the beginnings of a head. There's multiple ways that we could do this. For the body, on layer 1, I would suggest taking an eraser and just coming through here and chopping out these legs from underneath. Like we can go between here like this. Can use a little bigger 0.03 now, and maybe do like so. Bring this down, do like so here. Like doesn't look good at all. Well, it may not in the end. I'm very cynical right now. All right, so we'll now select the shape. You'll see that there are too many points here. This can be fixed by doing what I am doing now, which will help clean up the shape, but also the complexity that we may or may not want. So let's not do what I just did. And let's just worry about the ones in here. Still not going to work because there's too many. Also, if we take the size of our brush down, that will help a little bit here. So I can just come in and say, hey, let's lessen that. Let's lessen that one a little bit. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble talking. I don't know why. Maybe I'm dying. Okay, cool, good. And so this is not the best way to do this. It's not what I want. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take out some of these points. Try to move some around, put some back, and so on. All right, so anyway, that is a way to do this. If you wanted to use the eraser to start making shapes, you would have to go through here and move points around to start creating, like I said, those shapes. Like this would be your beginnings of your back leg, and come in here and just peek these things out to where they're not going crazy and wreaking all kinds of havoc. I'm having trouble speaking. I'm starting to worry. If anything happens, call 911. Okay, delete that point. I think I'm just heated about my difficulties earlier, so nothing to worry about. I'm going to grab this point and delete it. If it will let me. 1 point, please. There we go. For now, I'm just getting rid of these kind of account, or to make sure I'm doing the right shape. All right, so if I start talking about something that's not in my life, like a person named Marianne or something that doesn't exist, yeah, that's what we're calling the hospital. All right, so we're gonna round this out, and you can see, this is one way that you could do make the bodies, blah blah blah. But we're doing this, quickly here, and I don't really necessarily like this method. So we'll delete the layers here. Start over with layer 1. This is another method. I mean, you could draw it, right? But this is the best method, I think, the method I typically use for this kind of thing. We're essentially doing the same thing. Like I'm going to make a rounded hump shape like this for the body, but then I'm going to come in and make the legs myself individually like this. It's still the same essential issues and whatnot, but you have a lot more control and quicker selection and creation of all your points and shapes. And if you didn't fill this in, of course we can create the fill in for that here by just doing both. I'm just going to do though the fill and not a stroke around it, because I just want it to be kind of a softer kind of shape. If for some reason we still have a stroke on this, it's because it is actually a different shape at the moment. I'm going to try and select that separately here and delete it. It's sometimes difficult to do that. There we go. So this is all I want, right? The color. So now we're going to come back in and just tweak all of these positions of all these points real quick. We're going to peak some of them, like that one here is just going to be kapow. This one as well. Probably that one. Probably this one. We can add more points as we need them, because that's not going to look too great until we do. But I'm just going to sharpen a lot of these to where they have feet. Feet are handy for an elephant. I don't know why feet are handy, but you get the idea. I do want those kind of curving in and making sure that they sort of taper from where they begin. It's probably too high up. I think you see what I'm going for, though, I hope. If not, well, open your eyes. All right, here we go. Like this, like this. I'm going to pull a lot of this down because this is not how tall this dude's going to be. And I made these like a shape, which is fine too. This is one way of doing the other method, right? Still not my favorite or the best way to do this. So one last time, this is why I'm doing it junky, to give you just the examples. I'm going to delete that layer one last time. If it'll let me. Oh, it won't let me because it's the only layer. But what I do want to do is delete these points. We're going to do it one last time, and what I'm going to do is a combination of what I've just shown you. We're going to make a round body. We are going to make a roundish head here, like that. And I'm going to now make limbs, separate limbs. This head layer, though, that needs to be cut. If you accidentally put it all in the same, just cut it, make another layer, put the head pasted onto that one, like so, and now it's back. Two separate layers. I'm going to call this one body because this is the one the style we're sticking with. You'll see what I mean. The layer here is going to be called head of all things. All right. Now, for the body, I'm going to make another layer for this, and we're going to call this leg rear. If I can get it typed in. Cool. And now, instead of just making a shape and trying to chop it out from one shape, this is a lot more controllable. So back on frame 0, I'm now going to come in and make a rectangle, like so. That will be the leg rear. We're going to now duplicate this so we don't have to draw it again. Like so, if you want to do it. And let's go ahead and undo that, because I'm going to show you an even quicker way. I'm a little befuddled right now, I'm sorry. So I'm kind of going back and forth on stuff, but let's stick this here like this here like that. We're going to make the little tapered. Now this is essentially going to be one of our leg shapes. I'd like to get this a little more leg-like, and one of the cool ways we can add a little detail in here is to make sure we turn on our auto stroke. We don't want fill. I'm just going to say, though, make me a knee by doing this little funky coiled shape. That gives us this nice little knee detail. We can come back in and change the way that stroke is made and the style of it and everything here if you want to, but I don't really have an idea of what that's going to be set up already, but we can go ahead and kind of stick this in here, adjust some of the stuff, apply what we've got here and see how it looks. But you must do that, I just realized, when the stroke itself is selected first. So we select it, now we go into our brush, find the brush we want to use. It will start to pop up over here. Let's go with spacing and size variation is always good. The size variation scale. And me, a lot of the time, I like stuff to kind of look really kind of hand-drawn and junky. And I'm having a kind of hard time with it, though, for whatever reason. Kind of want that to look a lot less uniform and a lot more, random, right? This looks a little too nice still. So better yet, probably to go through and look for a better brush to use. I just don't like this regular vibe there that I'm getting. I want it to be much more randomized. I'm just increasing that angle. I'm increasing maybe the spacing a little bit, maybe. Size variation, but for some reason it doesn't seem like it varies the size the way I'd like. It's just kind of still doing what it does. Color drift, hue, value, and saturation, but there is, when you select the shape over here, is it the shape? Oh man, why am I teaching anything? All right, I'm gonna say okay. I'm gonna say okay again, and then I'm gonna come over here, and where we have our shape once it's selected, is that where I'm thinking? Is it shape? After all, it is not. It's going to be in our, wow, where is it? Oh, in our width tool. We're going to have color drift, we're going to have opacity, we're going to have width, and I don't think this is what I was looking for. Okay, man, maybe I do need to go to the hospital. I don't feel normal. I'm just looking for a broken up, really hand done looking line. This is not that. So, why? What have I not done right? Trying to give a tutorial and I can't even think. That's great. What ink is? Yeah, see, that's not even for that. Yeah, why? What's going on here? It's not changing anything, and it really should be. It's obviously a stroke I'm selecting, hopefully not having. And within that, it doesn't seem to be doing what I want to do with it. It'll change size, and perhaps that is why I'm not seeing enough variation, I guess. So we'll go back into the brush, change all of this back out. I like the jitter angle being different. The spacing should probably be spaced out a bit more. Size variation, I like a lot of it. And the size variation scale, so that just doesn't, it just looks like regular, you know what I mean? It doesn't look how I want that to be. I don't know, maybe I'm being stupid about this somehow. I don't understand why this isn't really doing what I would like it to be doing. Well, I don't blame you for clicking off of this video at this point. Wow, it's just kind of odd that seems so weird to me. I mean, it's kind of working, but it's also not. It doesn't look as hand done as I want. I mean, that's in a way okay or better. I don't know. I'm just not really feeling any of this. I'm not sure why. I'm supposed to have all these real media brushes in here now, and I'm not seeing any of them, to be honest with you. All this looks weird. What do I ever use that for? Well, you get the idea, I hope. I'm just going to kind of leave it where I've got here, and I'm just going to go ahead and taper down this beginning and end here just to make it look a little better. But yeah, I'm confusing myself at this point, which is odd. Now this does not want to work here too well. I'm just going to grab maybe the middle and goof around with it. All right, you get the idea. It's supposed to be like that, essentially. I just expect those to look like more you know, real media than you do. Hello, I think your name is Rex, huh? I don't know how to pronounce that, but hey. All right, anyway, once you have something like this, for the sake of this being easy to work with, I am going to round out the tops of the legs, because when we do movement, you know, we don't want it to flash or be weird. So next thing, this is how I do a foot for something this simple. We're just going to go vector another layer here and put foot. And I'm not going to make a foot. You'll see what I mean. It's going to be, we're going to autofill it and no stroke. Fingers crossed. And I'm just going to come in here and do something kind of like this that I can control if we need it to stick out and all of that. Just going to kind of fill in whatever. And now go and, of course, sharp certain corners like this one. You ever have one of those days you just feel off about everything? You know you're not working at your best. You're not on, like if I was playing sports, man, I would not be on my game basically right now. I feel kind of weird. Not weird like medically weird, just like out of it, man. Something's weird. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that. Then we can come in here and make little toenails. Really simple to do. I'm going to maybe do it on the same layer. I'm going to make like 3 circles. We're going to change the fill of each one of these. So with that shape selected, I'm just going to click here. Make that white for now. It could be gray or a white, but I'm going to click. Do something like that, a little brighter anyway than the rest of it. And so we could do an advanced technique, or I could just cut this off. Cutting it off might be the better thing for the moment. So I'm just going to delete this point and grab the other two and sharpen them. So we can just go like that and go Control P. And always control your P, otherwise you get it everywhere. And then I'm going to take this and just kind of round that a little more. That's a nail. Nailed it. And after I have that one done and in place, we're going to grab it, the shape that is, and I'm going to, we can grab the shape, not just the outline. We're going to copy it and paste it like this so we can move it over to the next one. And we can also Control V, paste it again, and move it over here. Now, if you're worried about it sticking out, which it is, we could do like a kind of advanced technique with masking. It's very simple though. And I'm going to take the foot, and I'm going to use that foot as a mask for these parts. But to do that, I am going to have to take those parts and put them on at least another layer, maybe even 3 other layers. But we're just going to cut these. I'm going to make at least 1 more layer here to start with. And there's going to be nails. And we're going to paste those onto the nails layer. And if it looks all junky, it's because I'm not buffering, or I'm GPU caching. If I turn that off, everything becomes clear again, which is, you know, the way I'd like to rather work. Sometimes it screws you up though. So with those nails on that layer and the foot here, I'm going to grab all that and I'm going to group that together, group a selection, call this foot. And then in here, in our masking, we're going to say hide all. It'll cut off that nail part. If you happen to have strokes on this foot, I'm going to double click it and you can go to masking and just make sure you exclude that. And we don't really have any, so I'm not worried about that. But then you have an elephant and a leg and a foot. The little knee probably should be a bit more thin. So we can just come down in here and grab that particular line. I'm just going to call it lines. I don't want to say the word stroke today. It's making me feel a little nervous. So I'm going to grab that shape right here. And within that, we're going to turn our width down to something like that. Cool. And it's pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, that leg's pretty done. I'm going to just make the foot a little larger. I think I'd make it come out just a bit more like this. We could even take the nails and move them over. We still want them to kind of be cool and cut off like they're sort of wrapping around the foot. You can even make them cut off below like I just did there. But that way when we animate it, we can move them around and they look like they're moving around and being cut off by the edge as opposed to sticking out and looking all wonky. So if we have something else selected, you'll see what I mean. They are cut off all the time. So with this foot and nails and so forth, this foot is going to be called foot, back or rear. And we're going to call this right. So now we're going to close that up. We're going to duplicate that layer. And this will be rear left. And then now we're going to drop it below the body because it'll be on the other side now. And whenever we want, we can just move that layer forward. I'm going to reset my origin for it. Move that layer now forward a little bit. And because, you know, it's just there by itself. You know what I just forgot to do? Let's not do what I did. We got foot and leg. We need to put these together as well. Those both need to be duplicated because I forgot about the leg. Foot rear, leg rear. Let's just stick its central point there. Body can go wherever we want. I'm just going to maybe stick that there. The head really should go about there. So there's my foot and leg. I'm going to duplicate both of these. I don't know if I want to put them in the same layer. I probably shouldn't because of the masking. So I'm going to take both of those, right click, duplicate those layers. I'm going to grab those and move them up. The foot needs to be in front of the leg, apparently, right? So we got front leg and front rear right and leg rear. I'm sorry, foot rear and leg rear. Now we've got foot rear L is what this needs to be. And leg rear L. Sorry about the confusion. I'm confusing myself. So these are the same. They work the same. If I move these layers now, they do move independently. But this leg L needs to be behind the body. So we're just going to go down and stick it down there to where when it moves, it's going to be back there. I'm thinking about making it a darker color so it has kind of a shadow to it. And I don't want to add shading to these. So on the leg rear, we're going to select it. We're going to select its shape like so. And I'm just going to drop the color down about to there. We can do the same thing with the foot. Matter of fact, let's sample that color to make sure, like right here, copy that. And we're going to go into the foot rear. And I am going to change the color of it too to match exactly. And now it looks like this is the back foot to me. So there's our foot and leg left. If I move them together, we can put this more behind and we can see now that that looks like a leg and a rear leg. In fact, we can get rid of the little second knee on that rear left leg. There's no reason to have that. I don't think. It's just being distracting and confusing, so we'll just delete it there. And now I'm going to take the front leg. That would be foot rear right, leg rear, and that really needs to be right as well. So we can differentiate now. Let's do the same for the other. That one already is done. So we're going to take the fronts and the rear, I think. We're going to duplicate all of them. And now we're going to grab them and move them forward to be the front legs. As you can see, we can just tuck them right in there, essentially at the same type of place. And now we have front and back legs. I'm going to close that up and come in here and try to name these correctly. This is the front rear right, but this one's going to be the leg rear, which is going to actually be the front right leg. So front L, front R, I'm saying. Wow, maybe there is something wrong with me. Leg front R. This is going to be the, where's my foot? Front. There's my foot, front R. When the naming gets screwed up, man, it's really confusing to me. So that's pretty good. And then the foot, that's the back foot. Front leg, which we're going to put above everything here like that. And then the rear leg, the foot rear, leg rear, the leg front, and the foot front. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to put the origin down the foot. The foot rear should be here. The leg rear could be there. It's hard to see for you guys, I'm sure. But this now is the foot L. So this will be foot front L. Is it foot? Or is it leg? Foot. I'll get out of this in a minute. Front L. I don't know what a foot font is, but front. That was the full foot front L. This is the foot rear L. This is the leg front L. Very confusing with these names. This also needs to go up and behind this foot. And this is the leg rear L, foot RL. Let's get it where it goes. All right, hopefully that's all correct. Whew. Someone called a doctor. He's stroking out. All right, then let's go ahead and go to, let's make a tail. So I'm going to add another layer here. I think it should go behind the body. So I'm going to call this tail. Grab it, knock it down behind the body right there. We're just going to create, let's just make some strokes or some lines here. Like this. And then we'll go back and sharpen these. We could also make a curver now that I think about it. So let's, I know there's a way to make this just a stroke. So let's do that. I'm going to get rid of that point. We're going to straighten out. It's been very difficult for me today. We're going to straighten that one out. Now we're going to take this curve, make it just a line. Stroke, you know what I mean? And what is going on here, folks? There we go. And we're going to create a shape, just the stroke, and we'll say create. Now we have a black line. I want to change the size of this, of course, along its path. So we're going to go maybe like this, like that. That can be gray if we want. So let's just go change the color of it. Yep. Some type of dark gray. Didn't work. There we go. Dark gray. Better. We can put a little tuft at the end of it if we want. Might as well. Let's just take a little circle here and just say this. People are watching me going, there's something wrong with this dude. I better call somebody. Better call Saul. I was in that show for a minute. Okay. And now I think we can maybe freehand a couple of little hairs coming off of here. Like that. It's weird, but I like it. Sort of. And now I'm going to change the color of that little area to match the tail. So it all looks sort of the same. Perfect. All right, so we want to do what's called a curver on this. This is all on the same layer, so that's good news. And I'm going to take the, is it the points? Let me find out. It's either the points or the shape itself, or it's the layer. I think it's the layer. And just put this here at its base. And I think with this layer of the tail, I come here and go, where's it at? Draw, or is it create curver layer right here? So now we have a curver layer, and then we have a warp that is essentially applied to the tail. What I need to do is get this curver moved around to where it's the same shape and so forth of the layer underneath it. I'm going to add some more points to this, like here, to make sure that this flows with the shape. We might put another one in the middle, maybe one right there. And so it looks all junky, but that's because our width is way too wide for that. We take our, I think we can do it this way, yep. We'll just grab these and make them more narrow, just to where they're the same width as the tail. Because remember, this is based on a single curve, not a shape. Like so. I'm going to see if I can move that back in there. Because you want this to encompass the whole shape here, the whole tail. It's a little bit sensitive right here, apparently. It's a lot like me on a good every 28 days. So I'm going to go like that. Not because it's me, but because maybe other people around me. Anyway, like that. That's so insensitive. And I'm just going to encompass everything. I'm going to try and make that curver layer go past this so everything stays, you know, in that arena. Now, let me double check on here, my options, if this is, I'm able to select this the way I want to. I don't see that, cancel. I should be able to select this, but the tail layer should have something that says, yes, it's associated with my tail warp, which is right here. So now, when I select the tail warp, this should allow me to move the tail. I don't see it happening. I don't know why. So maybe I have to be on frame 1, which is very possible. Yes, and you can see by moving that, it does move. So anytime I want to move the tail around, you just kind of flex your warp layer or your curver layer, and it will let you do that. But the best way to do this, I will tell you, is to add bones to this curver layer. You're like, what? What is this witchcraft? Trust me. If I get rid of these keyframes, I go back to frame 0, and then on our bone layer, we're going to put on here, this will allow me to create a boned, I'm not going to say the word, yes I am, a boned tail that will let us move it without feeling like we're jittering points around. You'll see when we get there. Trust me. So now with the forelegs, the tail, we need, if it's an elephant, we need a trunk. I'm going to do another curver layer for this. So we're going to start off with a shape, and I'm going to make this shape probably a rectangle, only because we will curve it later. So we're going to go something like this to start with. It already has a curver. Why has it got, oh, because I'm doing it on the wrong layer, fool. So we're going to go this on its own layer above the head, or behind it if it needs it. But I think trunk, and I'm going to make just a rectangle for now. We're going to have to change the color of this. Not a problem. Just grab the shape and sample the color from here. Now with that, I'm going to grab the points and move them around to be in a more trunk-like taper. We can add more points, change the shape, all the stuff we normally do, like this and this, get that little nicer feel. Can even, you know, do something like that. If we really want to, let me add a couple here real quick. If we really want to, you can go crazy with this And on here, this point and this sharp point, we're going to turn that into a rounded point, just like that, and this one as well. And then we've got the beginnings, anyway, of our little trunk. This will also become a curver layer, so for now, we'll grab the shape, maybe even just the shape. No, we have to grab the layer. I'm going to go ahead and center, give it an origin, I should say. And on this layer, of course, we're going to go create curve layer. That's in your draw menu. And now we need to move this around to where it just is going to make sense. Because right now, you know, we have 2 points and it's way too wide. So let's go ahead and adjust the width here. Make sure you encompass the whole thing. This goes down to about here. We can also still move this around to align it better. Make sure it overlaps. It's another one of the things you got to think about. And with this width here ticking down a bit, we can now go in, like I said before, add a couple of extra points in the middle to just give us more resolution. We're going to add bones anyway, but this gets it started for all of that. Let's make this just a little wider and this a little narrower. You just want to make sure that you have it completely enclosed no matter what it is you're doing here. So something like that is fine. And just 1 second. Go where?
Go get my pills.
You go? Like what? You're gonna buy something for lunch? Okay. Sorry guys. Okay. So there we are with this, and then we'll wait for the bones and stuff later. As you can see, if we go to a different frame here, this curve layer does affect the trunk, but we're not going to be using it this way because of this weird warping. The bones will help us more with that, and we can apply smart bone fixes and stuff like that to it too. Not something to worry about right now. This will need, well, the eyes and all of this stuff. Let's go with something that's going to be like the bigger thing, and let's add an ear. So on top of the head layer, add a new one, and we'll call this ear, and I'm going to call it ear right, just to start that off. And let's just create something that is ear like. I'm going to go boom, 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 very, very Dumbo style, you know what I mean? Hopefully I'm doing it justice, but you get the idea. This is a simple kids style drawing here. Now if we want, we can go in and do some cool stuff with masking and whatnot. I hate the term whatnot, just saying, and I hate the term just saying. So what we can do is come in here and just kind of sharpen up a few of these things to give them a little more kind of definition here and less blobbiness. And if we wanted to create some shadows in here that aren't shadows, like just to give form to this dude, there's a couple ways we can do it, but I think the easiest way, something I do in Illustrator all the time, is to take this ear part. We're going to duplicate that layer. We'll call this ear right inside is what I want to call it. And I'm going to take it and I am going to darken its color by grabbing the shape and saying, hey, you be darker. It's hard to see because the dots for grabbing a shape are the same color as this gray. Sad. That's a little confusing, but we're going to bring that down. I hope I'm right about that. And there we go. And so you'll see that's darker, but what I'm going to do is use our trusty friend, the eraser, that nobody ever uses for anything cool like this. I'm going to go, wait a minute, get all of this off of here. I did that really bad, but you could start to see I'm making an inner shape of the ear. The better way of doing it is to maybe go to our freehand options, turn this up, or maybe in the eraser there is a smooth factor. I don't see it though. Man, that would be kind of nice. And also I'm used to working on my display, my graphics display, and right now I'm not because I'm using that there and I'm looking at the big screen over here. But normally I would draw with that, and trying to do this with the mouse is a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to kind of go, and you see how that sort of cuts that down. If I wanted to come in here and lessen these points at certain points. Very easy by using that tool that does it, and it will kind of try and knock your amounts down. I don't know why it doesn't do it less than it is. It's weird that I still have to come in here, in my opinion, and get rid of a couple of these, you know, and then go back and add curve and whatever to them. It's a little annoying, but hey, it's still an amazing program. It's just a couple things that I think would be nicer if they weren't that way. So I delete a few points like this, add some of the curvature back. And I have this sort of curved inner ear part here. I'm just going to kind of lessen some of these points a bit more. Hopefully it'll take some of those out, but it doesn't want to. Everything, just get rid of them and then go add that curvature, you know, back in there. And if it's not snapping here, I can peak it and then come back and round it again, and we have that taken care of. Once again, any more places that just have too many points, go ahead and, you know, brush over them and get rid of that stuff. So that's just for that part of the ear. If we want to, though, we can come back in here with the eraser again and just go and like that. And now delete the intersection that we don't want by selecting it like this. Just the line, the area, and deleting it. Very simple stuff. I know it's still hard to see the ear, and I will show you how to fix that as well. So I'm going to grab, let's say, at this point and get rid of it. I'll worry about any perfection here later, because that's not what we're doing right now. I'm going to move these till there we go. And just leave it like so. I think there needs to be a shadow of some kind of something between that ear and the body. So, let me sneeze. Excuse me. One way of handling that would be to make the ear lighter than the body overall. Back in the ear, and you can see we probably need to move a couple more points around like that. But if I take the ear now, grab it, the shape, and make its color just a little lighter. It doesn't have to be a lot. It'll just separate it a bit from the body like that. And now we can see the ear. The trunk, in my opinion, is going to have to be thicker. That's my personal preference. On trunks, it's like my shorts. They got to go to at least to my knees. I'm just going to thicken it by widening out like that. Very simple. We check our curver layer. It needs to be obviously adjusted too. That's just a matter of moving some points, widening the overlay a bit more, and we're good. So I'm just going to do this until it's covering. You know, it doesn't have to be way over, just enough. You know, and once that is good, we will probably add some more points just for resolution reasons. Good. All right. And the bones will make all the difference at that point. You get the idea, though, I think. And that's really all I'm trying to accomplish here, is make these cute little animals for like a kid's cartoon or something like that. So I want to take the ear and the ear inside from this side. I'm going to group those together and call this ear right. And I'm going to duplicate that for the left side. But I'm going to get rid of the shadow that's on the inside, because we're not going to see that, or at least we can turn it off. We might actually see it later when it's turning its head or something. So I'm going to close these up. We have ear right, ear left. Ear right, though, needs to be behind the head for now. So that will actually go behind the head. And I think that it also needs to be made darker than the head, so it is also separated. If you do see the edge of it coming around the head or something, it does need to be the appropriate color. So I'm going to take this and just come down slightly, and I'm using this comparative color right up here. That way we know if the ear is shifted forward or backward. We're going to see it poke out, you know, from the other side like that. And for now, I'm thinking that also needs to go behind the body, not just the head. So ear 2 needs to go behind the body. That way when it moves, you know, it's always behind. A little bit like that maybe. I think that looks good. We can set our origin for it there, which we need to go back and set the origins for things like this ear, that ear. That way when it moves, you know, it moves from that point. Nothing weird. The head turns from where it turns. The feet, you know, are anchored and turning where they're supposed to turn from. The body is fine. This ear, I think, yeah, we have it pretty much now. That's the rear ear. The ear inside there. The ear itself there. Tail warp is fine. The tail is fine. Okay. All right, cool. What else? Guess we need eyes and a mouth at this point. He looks a little doofy because he has no mouth. So in front of the head, at least, I'm going to just kind of leave this wherever it's going to land for now. But I'm going to do a mouth, or like a jaw. Let's just say jaw. The upper mouth can be a separate piece or just a line or whatever it needs to be. But this jaw is going to come from, let's say, here. A little bit of a lip down here, and essentially be like a jaw would be. We need to sharpen that point at the very least. And I think overall that works. But it needs to be the same color as the head, unless we're going to make it have a shadow on it later. But this needs to be sampled to blend, you know, from the other. And now we're going to have this cute little jaw so far. Maybe make it bigger, a little lumpier, a little stick out a little more. So when he opens his mouth, we're going to have some kind of way to make him talk or swallow or eat or whatever we want him to do. When we click away, you'll see that it blends in pretty good. The eyes, I think, big and round. You know, able to look around, blink and all that stuff, right? What do you guys think? Let me know. Speak to me if you would. I like that kind of thing. So up here in the top, let's go at least on top of the head. We're going to add a layer. We're going to call this eye. This is going to be eye right. So we're going to say eye right, space, and yeah, enter. And within here, some different things we have to do. I'm going to group this with itself so it becomes like a group. This will be eye right, as we said. Now we have that eye layer inside of the folder. On that layer, we're going to make a circle, however big, whatever we want it to be. I think that's okay. A little taller than not. And I typically like them to be a bit not perfectly round at all. A little more, you know, slanty, weird, and to take the sharpness and kind of make it a little narrower at the top, maybe, and you know, if that makes sense. I like it to feel a bit more non-perfect, kind of maybe like this. In this shape now, we're going to have to select it and turn it, let's say white for now, which will work. And if we're sticking to no outlines, we'll see, but I need to make another layer now with a pupil. So we're going to say vector, and we're going to say, and you know, we could make this a really nice eye. Let's start with the pupil though. Pupil. Then we'll add an iris and see what it looks like. I'm just going to grab another circle and just sort of plop this in here. It can be a big one or a small one, but let's do one about that big. This is just, let's say, the pupil. Within that pupil, though, we need to color that shape. So it's hard to see, but I'm going to select it and make the pupil black. So we have this, which is a very South Park style elephant now. But if we wanted this to actually work like an eye, this isn't going to work because what we'll be doing here is moving this pupil around, and when we do, you'll see the problem. We can look anywhere we want, do whatever, but as it goes to the edge of the eye, it comes over and out. We don't want that. Over and out. So we're going to take the eye group, double click it, go to masking, hide all, apply. If there were outlines on this eyeball, we need to go to this bottom layer, masking, exclude strokes. We don't have any, but it's good measure in case you do or are going to later. And now when we move that layer around, you will see, moving that layer, it will, whoops, the pupil, it will go behind the gray part here. So if it moves this way, you won't see it. You see as it comes out, we can look down, up, and it feels like that's a pupil moving around inside an eye. We could get a lot more elaborate about that, of course, but on the eye layer, though, I'm going to add another circle here, right below the pupil. We're going to call this iris. I'm just going to see how this is going to start looking. I don't like to do this unless I have some sort of shading on this iris, but for the moment, we're going to do it as a simple oval, not black. So I'm going to go in and grab that color. Let's just make this blue because, hey, it's a Dumbo thing. Just something like this. And now we have a pretty basic blue eye. But I really kind of like these things to look, there's like a shading you can have. It's very simple to do. Let me move my points around a little bit more though. Get this a bit better, more interesting. As I said, I kind of like these to be off and not so perfect. Maybe something like that. And within this iris, and you could do it for the whole eye too, but within the iris at least, I'm going to add another bit, another shape. So we're going to go like this. I'm going to correct these here in a second better, but you can see kind of what I'm doing there. And this particular color is going to be a darker version. To keep it basic, we would just leave it as a solid color, darker, but you can make that a gradient, which it's up to you. And now what I'm going to do is come in here and try to perfect this a little more to where this iris is cut off by this other shape. So I should have probably done this on a separate layer. So let me just cut that, paste it back in there in another layer. Hopefully I'm not being too confusing about this. So iris inner shadow, just because. I'm going to paste that back in here. Let's see if I can, I don't know if that works. Let me try anyway. I'm going to go in and group those inside of the group. And this is where I'm worried about it not working. So I'm going to call this iris. And what I'd like to do is have the masking turned on for that particular area. Yep, there it goes. That's what I wanted. Cool. So we do have a group inside of a group, and we do have the shadow in there masked, and it's exactly how I wanted that to go. So let's fix the shape up on it a little bit though, because this is not good for the curvature for all these corners and stuff that should be differently shaped. So I'm going to curve them that way and curve this that way, then move these points to where we have a bit better, softer, more natural curve instead of this weird wonky stuff happening. This doesn't really need to be that big, and you'll see that when you move your points around, they kind of find the better angle that it really probably could or should be at. You can come in here and readjust all of this curvature, make it longer or shorter. Sometimes they just don't look good until they do. So basically you get the idea. That's our eye for now. It looks a little like an eyelid. I'm not real happy about that part because it's not an eyelid. The eyelid, if we want one, will go over this, which you'll see works fantastically. We can even not mask this and have it masked by the eyelid too. which may be the way to go on this. I don't know. We'll see. So with this iris inner shadow, we probably can make that a little either a bit longer, like this, or less long. But I think the longer might look better and less like an eyelid right now, which is what we want. So I think that works, because that way it looks a little more like an iris shadow. Another really important thing, this looks like a dead eye, like a dead shark or something. So what we're going to do in that eye layer here is add one more vector layer. Let's add it in, oops, sorry. Let's add that inside the eye, and we're going to call this highlight. And you can add more than one or whatever. I'm going to put probably 2 in here. And I'm going to start out with a circle like this. Let's make that the right color first, though. It will look better if we do. Like an oval like this. And if you want, you can do a secondary one like that. And believe it or not, that's it. Look how good that eye looks just based on that silliness. So I would suggest now maybe an eyelid to make this a more complete face. We can duplicate this eye, but I'm going to wait until we have an eyelid and put that on the back side of the head. So if he does turn, you have the ability to maybe have him look straight on and see both eyes, or that it can flip-flop, you know what I mean? It would be a pretty necessary thing, I think. You see what I did there? So let's add a layer, and we're going to call this lid top R. Very easily you can do this like so. We are going to make this, let's mix it up and make this kind of a pinker gray, if that makes sense. Just cancel. Let's just go into the color itself, though. You also have to select shape. Forgot to do it. And we can come in now and make this a bit mauve-er, like that. So now we have this more mauve-ish eyelid, maybe. And this might be darker, lighter, whatever. I'm thinking it needs to be a bit darker. That's just me. It's kind of cute and sweet like that, but I almost want a bit more heaviness to the eyelid. Then we go in to that lid top with our points here and start shaping however we want this eyelid to look when it's open. So this is the open eyelid position, in my opinion. Just going to do it all the way to the corners. And then I'm going to sharpen up those corners here and here. It's going to make it slightly thinner. Then we can come in and, you know, drop this down, or however you want this to be positioned overall. That's the beauty of curvature. We're doing this with like 4 points or something. Pretty crazy. But the only problem with that is you really need to make sure you can get the eyelid in whatever position you want while you're animating. So it's great that you can do this with 4 points, but if it has to move and you don't have enough resolution, it's not going to work. But I think this will. So this is like his own. You can see when he's sleepy, it's very cute. When it's closed, it'll have more of this vibe. And you can control that all with 1 point, which is pretty easy and convenient. So this is going to be his standard eye. If he has a wide one, we can go, what the, you know, and so on. We can even change the shape of the eyeball underneath it if we want. I'm going to actually make this match a little bit better. The outside of the lid and the eyeball underneath, because I liked the shape. That's why I drew it the way I did. So let's just kind of get it similar. Then we can go back and, of course, make this a little more of a repeat of that outside shape. And then test a little more of the wider, and all this can change over time. You know, you get this little flex happening here. That is all corrective stuff that we can do without any problem. All right, so there's the upper lid. If we want a lower lid, we can have it. I think he needs something, so I'm just going to duplicate this one to save time, and I highly recommend doing that kind of thing. And I'm just going to move it down below. annoying. Move it down below, and we're going to call this lid bottom R. And now we can take it, move it, reshape it, because it's a new separate layer of lidness. I'm just going to put this pretty low. You know, it's just his little eye bag, the sad parts, if you will. Let's kind of jog this around until I get more of what I want. Like I said, still only working with 4 points here, which is pretty darn cool. We can get this more like the shape we originally intended. And I think that works. And when his eye blinks, it doesn't matter these aren't connected, because we can make them connected when it blinks, or however we want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and probably turn this instead of peaking it, because the difference is if I peak this now, I'll be stuck with that hard corner. I will lose any adjustment I can make here, you know, when doing whatever else. I may change my mind about that later, but I won't right now. All right, cool. So there's the eye and a little eyelid. We could add shadow to the mouth, whatever you want to do to make this more elaborate. I'm trying to make the simplest character that I can that has some kind of, you know, good looking quality to it. I think this dark ear is a little dark. So we're going to go with that ear inside of the front ear. I can worry about this later, but the ear inside here should be a little lighter. It's a bit overdone. What am I doing? Oh yeah. Come on, Sean, you could do it. And let's just make this a little bit lighter. Maybe even a little more. Let's just stop there. And that's it's a little softer looking, I think. It's a little nicer. Okay, cool. So that's the first step. I'll come back with another video on doing the rigging for it next. And because I think he's kind of there. We could add some more details, but I think it's pretty close for the basic animals I want to do for this pack. So cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe and all the stuff, and talk to you soon.